Hello and welcome to This Week in Frax. It's myself and Dave, and we also got Phil here as well too. Welcome, Phil.
Hey guys.
So I want to talk about this because this just happened in chat. I'm going to share my screen, or what can I do here? So Sam essentially just put in a $2 million TWAM order
Or
to
the
buy.
Frax protocol has.
Yeah, the Frax protocol is putting in a $2 million TWAM order to essentially swap $2 million worth of Frax into Frax shares. So last time that Sam did this
It's like a year ago.
It was about a year ago, and it marked the bottom of the market. So maybe it actually has a decent effect.
We'll see. I mean, can lightning strike twice?
Well,
I mean, like last year around this time, there was like it was different. It was different in the sense that it was like post Luna, post 3AC. There was like a bunch of negative headwinds against FXS in terms of price action and trading, and basically like the Frax protocol, had to perform some treasury management in order to take a stand, and it marks the bottom of last year. Will it mark the bottom of this year? I mean, who knows? But now there's this. Now that there will be this like it's like 2 million. Do you know how long like the order is? Like how long the T1 order is going to last for? Like a month or a few months?
I don't know. I think the last one was 2 weeks or something like that, maybe a month. But I think they're probably doing calculations. I just took a quick look at the Frax website. There's 72 million Frax in circulation right now, with 40 million of that being in VEFXS. So that leaves 32 million Frax or Frax shares, which are just out there on the market and available to buy somewhere. Well, I mean, they're probably not all somewhere. Right? I mean, they're probably in Frax Swap and a bunch of other places. But I think Sam probably thought, hey, we're getting to the point where there's just like the amount of available Frax shares is not that much. And so we can come in and we can start making some nice protocol buys, right? Because if you look at the last one, it was also at this like 450 level as well too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was around this level. So definitely a little deja vu. We love to see it, and I think with all the stuff coming out with Frax, well, last year if you think about it, like, but frxETH wasn't released yet at this time. I think did anything else? Frax Swap was no, obviously Frax Swap was released. Um,
Yeah, there wasn't anything really. It was kind of crazy.
yeah, there's no Frax Land. Frax Land wasn't even released yet either.
No, we didn't have anything.
So like now, in the same way that like Fraxland and frxETH weren't released yet, now you have frxETH v2 on the horizon. So you have BAM on the horizon, which is like another like more advanced version of Fraxland. So it's literally deja vu all over again.
Okay, we're back from some small technical difficulties. But yeah, so it's interesting, really, how this might mark. Well, hopefully, I mean, we all have deep bags, so I hope this marks the bottom for everything happening with Frax at the moment.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
We're not traders. We're missionaries.
Just like bag advice.
Literally, like we're here to educate and promote, and like we're educating about this action by the protocol in the open market.
Exactly. Yeah. So some other things that I want to talk about. I want to get to governance right away because there was a couple of.
There's a lot of governance.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of governance that happened this week. We're going to talk about a few things first. So the first one being the rejection of the Frax Convergent Seed Investment Protocol. So this is a convex-like system that is being built for Tokamak, and I believe they want to go after 4 other protocols that have similar VE tokenomics, and they were asking Frax for a $100,000 investment at a fully diluted value of 19.5 million, and that would essentially be into the treasury. Well, as you could probably assume, we already have one convex, and there's probably not a room for another one. So this actually failed pretty handedly. It just did not pass. But
Have you guys been following Tokamak? What was the last time you heard an update about Tokamak? I'm curious.
I was following them a lot last year, but not recently.
I mean, yeah, I remember they were at one point they were a huge social signal.
Mhm.
They're like voting in pools for like, oh, like, direct, Tokamak rewards to like X and like put in the reactors and this and that. I mean, Tokamak has been around, so a 27 million crash.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty
tough.
tough.
That's really tough. Like, so the TVL, you look at their, or maybe this is just no, this is the protocol token, right? So TVL really dropped off. I mean, they had 1.13 billion at the peak, and they're sitting at 27 million now. That's tough. That's tough.
Happens.
I mean, from what I understand, they are a decentralized market maker. So I wonder if they're like similar in their strategies, like to like a Gamma Strategies or a Rakish or something.
Do you think they were? I mean, it looks they had the same issues around that May. I mean, essentially the sell-off, they lost almost $1 billion in TVL at that point.
Yeah.
Probably, I wonder if they had exposure to the Loon stuff.
But like you were saying, it makes sense. Frax already has a convex, so it doesn't really. I'm not sure how much room there is for another one at the moment. So
yeah, but I think it's just important to, like, if you're a team and you're interested in getting a quote unquote like seed investment from Frax, like straight up asking for money is usually not the best. To do like a token swap is usually much easier to do what FX protocol did. And let me just find them.
right there.
Right here. Yeah. So what they asked for was not for Frax to spend, but rather 40,000 VLCVX votes for frETH frxETH for 6 months. And they are going to offer Frax 3,000 FX tokens, which is 0.015% of the supply, vested linearly over 12 months.
That's very creative.
Yeah. We've actually been seeing a lot of these. This is actually a pretty, we've had 3 or 4 of these passed so far where people just ask for liquidity incentives, especially to be paired against Frax or frxETH. And so they can come out of the gate, they can get a bunch of liquidity locked up for, longer term, and then kind of bootstrap their initial growth.
That's what other protocols have done this?
I can quickly find out, but I know there's been a few so far. So look, remember Clever did that?
Oh yeah, they did that last year.
Yeah. And I believe there was one more, but Clever was the main one. That's the first one that I remember. They asked for 300,000 VLCVX votes for the next 6 epochs. It's kind of short. And Clever gave us, where did they say they were going to give us? Oh, they gave us 0.75% of the supply vested over 3 months from the first vote.
I wonder, like, when these pass, how it affects, like the calculations that the core team makes in their vote incentives. It's like, oh, like we have to like put X amount. Like, I wonder like if they take like how much they take into account, or I wonder like how much it affects, their calculations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd be interested to have a gauge discussion at some point. I'm not sure who's the team person that runs all the gauge stuff.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis is like the guy for that.
So this one actually is going to pass the FX protocol because I think it's because they're not asking for money and they're simply asking for liquidity.
And 40,000 is, especially going to 300,000, not that much.
Yeah, exactly. Especially over 6 months too.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of bang for your buck, and 0.1% of the supply. It's pretty good.
And then additionally, the last governance thing that I want to talk about is the Fraxchain ITB risk management tools proposal. So this was put forward by Into the Block Research, and they were asking for, I believe, $20,000. Oh, $60,000 to build a real-time economic risk monitoring and analytics for Fraxchain. I think the pushback here was probably that, like, hey, we already have FraxFax. that's pretty detailed in what's provided.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool what they want to build, but I'm not sure if this is quite the priority right now of the team to like spend it on, this. I mean, like it's quite detailed, don't get me wrong. And maybe, if Fraxchain grows bigger or like BAM gets bigger, like this would be something cool to fund. But we've seen like a few dashboards before, risk and they haven't passed. So
yeah, I think it's just tough. I think the the people who have the biggest votes are probably like, oh, hey, like look at this. We already have dashboards like this, essentially. Even though this is a very nice looking dashboards, right? Actually, they do add like liquidator leaders or liquidator leaderboard here.
yeah.
And then high risk loans as well too. So interesting.
I swear history is repeating itself because I swear we saw like a risk management dashboard
Yes,
like last year that was proposed and didn't pass.
exactly. Right. Exactly. Maybe it's just the size. I mean, 60,000 is a lot, right? To build a dashboard. So I guess it's mainly for like the API calls and then documentation. 15,000 for documentation seems like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot for document. Jesus.
Oh, and it would be an annual payment of $15,000 as well too, for ongoing maintenance.
Yeah,
seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that one failed. That one did not pass, and yeah, so that pretty much covers governance. On the like actual Frax side, there was a ton of information that we published this week about frxETH v2 after Dave and Kit's interview with Sam. We have 3 pieces of content on that this week, to include yesterday's content on Fraxchain, which sounds pretty good. But I was also really impressed with the Frax month. Let me find this because Phil, you sent this to me, which is like the Frax monthly like wrap up that the team does. So this was published in the news channel, and it really rolls through like everything that's happened the past month, just in a pretty succinct way. So let me pull this up. Okay. So the main things that I want to talk about are down at the end, because a lot of it is just like liquidity pools. But apparently, code has been added for the borrow AMM. So you can actually come in and see the code and like read through bam.sol. So it kind of explains it. And you can start reading through the code. Additionally, they have code for Fraxchain v2, which is now public and under development.
And there's Fraxchain v2.
Yeah. And then also Frax Oracle, which is an improved Oracle for L1 and L2. It uses Chainlink and other price sources, and then it's under development. So lots of small things. I didn't even know this had come out. Like they just quietly published this in their like newsletter that doesn't even really get a ton of distribution.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard a word about Fraxchain v2. I wonder how Fraxchain v2 could be improved. Is it increasing the speed of it?
Well, there's 2 contracts here, and so there's Fraxchain on L1 and Fraxchain on L2.
I wonder. Something to ask Travis.
Yeah, Travis is just like too busy with his chickens.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Honestly, chickens. Like, did you see the chickens in like the ball thing? Like,
I saw them surrounding the Frax hat.
No, but it's like I saw this on Twitter the other day, and I wanted to share it with Travis because I thought of him. It was like chickens in a mesh ball, right? And then they could like walk around their like wherever your like lawn, right? And nobody's gonna like hurt the chickens. Have you seen this?
It's like when people play bubble soccer or in those bubbles.
Exactly. Boy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I thought it was pretty cool. So eventually Travis is going to come on and we can talk to him about all the things that he's working on.
A more brother special.
Exactly. But they're quietly leaking information everywhere. We are staying on top of things.
Have you guys read through the BAM docs?
we actually have an upcoming interview, don't we, for next week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have a special about infinity pools, which you know, BAM takes a lot of inspiration and builds off of. But BAM sounds really interesting because it seems infinity pools is just concentrated liquidity, but from what I know about BAM, like talking to Sam and the team, it includes like like full range as well. So so it's like BAM sounds like a combination of gamma swap and infinity pools.
Also, Riley GMI, I'm going to pull this up. So Riley GMI made a great picture about the whole Frax ecosystem.
I've been waiting for someone to make a graphic.
And look at this thing. There's just so much here.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. It covers the entire system. There's so much.
This is just today. Like, could you imagine it in like a few years?
This is very cool. This is. I think we should probably like do a whole thing on this. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Riley, for making this. Let me give you a follow. He's an analyst at Digital Asset Hedge Fund, Rebirth DAO, Intern DAO.
That's a very good infographic. I would love to see more infographics. How we have the Frax education program. If you have infographics, you can get rewarded for your infographics. Riley, if you're watching this, please enter it in that.
Exactly.
We have the link below.
Exactly. Yeah, the link will be in the show notes. Let's see. So we talked about this in Frax. Well, I don't know if we talked about it in Fraxlin, but this is the first week that frxETH is down. Yeah, we did talk about it.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. So Sam said it was because the AMO had its first burning of frxETH to keep the peg tight. Everything worked exactly as intended, and the supply contracted as expected. Sam said that it sucks to have the frxETH supply go down, but everything performed under pressure. It was a good test, he said.
It's promising to see that, perform under pressure. Because it's the same thing with Frax and stablecoin. Like, you need to be able to scale up, but also scale down. And that's the problem with a lot of things. They think about scaling up, but they don't think about scaling down, just in case. It's like, the road to the top is not a straight line up. There's always the ups and downs. But it was fun going week after week saying like, oh, look, another 30%, another 30%. It was great. Oh my goodness. So, hopefully, this is temporary, and, a little adversity in the bear market never hurt anyone. Makes the protocol a bit strong, makes the protocol not just a bit stronger, stronger in general. And yeah, it's things like the TWAM order. I think hopefully signify like this is where the Frax protocol is drawing its line.
So we also had some good news. A Frax member by Abdul Ibrahim posted a link to a Etherscan transaction where, I mean, this is very small, but the team or the comptroller address burned 106,943 Frax shares, which is about $550, maybe $600,000 at the time.
What, they burned it?
Yeah, I mean, it went to null. So I'm not sure. Maybe they are able to like, because null address is just
yeah, it's burn.
Yeah, burn address. So I guess there's some Frax shares here now. But I think they have I think this is how they like mint and destroy things, right? So like, you can see they pulled out 300,000 Frax shares, but they also can burn as well too. So
treasury management at work.
Yeah. So Dave, what do you think about this ongoing CRV situation?
Oh my God. I think it's very interesting how like one man has like so much power. Like literally, how much of the percent of, is it like 20, 30% of the CRV supply?
30%, yeah.
30% of the CRV supply is in one protocol. Well, first of all, this is like Aave fucking up for like allowing this to happen. Like if you're like a user, you're just like, oh, I'm just like, oh, like, put it in there. Second of all, like I guess it definitely reflects like things in the real world where you just have like a few big players that like really like make moves. DeFi is just a microcosm of that. Instead of just like there being big banks, there's just giant whales per se. And like, you know, Mitch is one of those whales. I mean, it's not looking great for CRV in the price. It's the CRV protocol itself will be fine. Like, you know, that's gonna like function with or without. But you know, CRV token per se, like, I mean, how much of it has gotten like? I mean, okay, it's at 1.68. Okay, so it's not like that's not like terrible, but
so the issue here is really the difference between what Michael should be paying in interest versus what he's able to take essentially as a subsidized loan in this USDT, because his borrowing rate is 3.85% on Aave, and on Fraxchain, let me pull this up. He's paying 25% on Fraxchain. So there's a, what is that, like a 8 times difference in the amount of interest that he's paying.
Why is it so low on Aave?
Because it's subsidized. It's like a shared pool thing. So like USDT is shared across all the pools, and so like his CRV is able to take advantage of that.
Oh, so he's like catching the shared pool ARB.
Exactly. So the isolated lending pools like we have in Fraxchain are actually a much better way of managing risk.
Is this Aave V2 or V3?
This is V2. This is one of the other reasons that like everything got messed up, is because Michael moved his entire stack from V3 to V2 and then added a bunch more CRV into
it. He's only paying 3%.
Yeah, he has a net APY of like minus 1.5%. So that's crazy, right? So he's actually making money on his CRV. He's making 0.5% on $300 or $180 million a year, and then he's paying 4% pretty much on 62 million. So it nets out at like minus 1.5 for him to borrow like all of this USDC. It's crazy. Or USDT.
I gotta pay for that house somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, Sam?
I mean, I look at the Fraxchain stuff. Currently, Michael is the biggest borrower. He's been paying down some of his debt, but he's got a $25 million. That's $25 million of collateral, and he's borrowed about $12 million worth of Frax. Sam said in the chat the other day that of that $12 million that's borrowed, the AMO has only supplied about $100,000. So the protocol itself, if there was some sort of deleveraging or liquidation, would be totally fine. Fraxchain borrower or Fraxchain lenders who are putting their Frax in there probably wouldn't be, though. They would be probably stuck with some bad debt.
It'd be interesting for all these Fraxland optimizers being made, taking this risk into account. Like, yeah, CRV is like always the highest performing APY, but at what cost? You know.
I mean, this is the actual. I mean, he should be paying 25% on his borrow on Aave. I think that's
I'm talking about Fraxland. So like you have Fraxland optimizers being built. If I'm like a strategist for a Fraxland optimizer and I'm thinking about where to put the Frax that is in my pool, I'm like, all right, like CRV has a pretty high APR for lending it, but I'm dealing with like there's like one person risk.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the tough thing, right? Like, what do you actually do? Like,
it's 20% now.
Yeah, the lend APY is 20%.
So and everything else is like
negligible.
Not much.
Negligible.
What happened? Everything just collapsed. Oh wait, no, there's Geom. Geom's like 9%.
I just think it's more representative of the risk. You know,
I really like the siloed pool, isolated pool model. I feel a lot more comfortable and safer.
I do too. Yeah, it's great. We can. The great thing is that you don't share the risk across all the assets, and if we really wanted, we could make a pool just for Michael, just for his assets. That's even separate from the other CRV assets.
You could. The Michael. Yeah. I feel like technically I could go through governance, but I mean, I guess that'd be interesting to see. I mean, like, look, the position's healthy.
It is very healthy.
Position, the
There-
GM position,
Mhm.
This one, that's kind of big. So he's
Yeah.
borrowed $2 million worth of Frax, but GM doesn't really move that much, does it?
No, they've actually, they've done a good job with their, range bound strategy to keep it stable.
But just look at the size. Like Michael is the outsized borrower of Frax, and he's paying a pretty
12
penny.
million.
He's paying a pretty penny too. Yeah. So, I mean, it's making the protocol money. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see this one. So yeah, I think my view on the situation is, and this isn't financial advice, is that like Michael's very smart and he's not going to get liquidated.
Yeah, I can't. I agree with you on that. I can't see him like just like fucking off and his position being gone. Like I more imagine him paying off his debts over time.
Well, I saw some stuff on Twitter that it's actually almost impossible for someone to get enough CRV to sell into the market. And you never know like what could happen. I mean, maybe the price of ETH drops or something, but I think it's actually kind of hard for him to get liquidated at the moment. Yeah.
Seems like he's in the right position right now.
But that is going to wrap it up. A bunch of stuff this week, right?
Yeah.
Excited for buybacks.
Excited for buybacks. Government's active as ever. Literally, if we're calling this episode anything, it's literally deja vu.
Deja vu. That's a good one.
Yeah. For those that have been with Flywheel for a year, you remember the beginning. And if you want to be with us in the future and catch up with everything, make sure you hit that bell button, subscribe, leave us a comment, give us a like. Follow us on Twitter at Flywheel DeFi. Join the discussion on Telegram at Flywheel DeFi. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFiDave22.
Find me at traders_insight. And Phil, where are you at?
You can find me at I did I with 2 eyes. Yeah, thank you guys.
It's a hell of a name.
It's
Yeah,
hell,
good one.
yeah.
I did.
Sweet.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys.